Welcome to Spiritualist Desert Church for our Sunday service. If you're joining us via Zoom today, please remember that your microphones are muted because we're recording the service. The services are posting also to YouTube, but those of you who are watching us on YouTube today, if you'd like to join us live in the future, please send us an email request for an invitation. Thank you to everyone who's joining us today. All of you who are joining us in the physical, as well as all those in spirit who have joined us. My name is Nola Bonecutter-Vale. I'll be your chairperson. I'm a longtime member of Spiritualist Desert Church. The Reverend Jen Rosson will be delivering our sermon today. Louise Barkdull will lead us in a guided meditation, and she'll also bring us spirit greetings later in the service along with Alice Robertson. Lynn Collier is our Zoom moderator today. Thank you to all those serving the church today. Please join me now as we open our service with a prayer. Infinite intelligence, thank you for this day and the time we will share together here. We ask for your assistance and guidance in opening our hearts and minds to the service. Help us to find inspiration for our spiritual growth and understanding to create more peaceful, loving lives for ourselves and those around us. In love, light, and truth, amen. Spiritualist Desert Church is a chartered member of the National Spiritualist Association of Churches, headquartered in Lilydale, New York. The NSAC Spiritualist Manual provides us with the definitions of our religion. I'd like to share these definitions of spiritualism and of being a spiritualist with you now. Spiritualism is the science, philosophy, and religion of continuous life based upon the demonstrated fact of communication by means of mediumship with those who live in the spirit world. Spiritualism is a science because it investigates, analyzes, and classifies facts and manifestations demonstrated from the spirit side of life. Spiritualism is a philosophy because it studies the laws of nature, both on the seen and unseen sides of life, and bases its conclusions upon present observed facts. It accepts statements of observed facts of past ages and conclusions drawn therefrom when sustained by reason and by results of observed facts of the present day. Spiritualism is a religion because it strives to understand and to comply with the physical, mental, and spiritual laws of nature, which are the laws of God. A spiritualist is one who believes as the basis of his or her religion and the communication between this and the spirit world by means of mediumship, and who endeavors to mold his or her character and conduct in accordance with the highest teaching derived from such communication. As spiritualists, we have no dogmas or creeds, but we do have 9 principles that we strive to live by. Please join me now in declaring these principles. We believe in infinite intelligence. We believe that the phenomena of nature, both physical and spiritual, are the expression of infinite intelligence. We affirm that a correct understanding of such expression and living in accordance therewith constitute true religion. We affirm that the existence and personal identity of the individual continue after the change called death. We affirm that communication with the so-called dead is a fact, scientifically proven by the phenomena of spiritualism. We believe that the highest morality is contained in the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. We affirm the moral responsibility of individuals and that we make our own happiness or unhappiness as we obey or disobey nature's physical and spiritual laws. We affirm that the doorway to reformation is never closed against any soul here or hereafter. And we affirm that the precepts of prophecy and healing are divine attributes proven through mediumship. Thank you. It's my pleasure this morning to introduce our speaker for today, the Reverend Jen Rosson. She's an ordained minister of the National Spiritualist Association of Churches. She's a longtime friend and member, and she's very active in Spiritualist Desert Church. She serves on our board of directors, as well as she's the co-chair of our pastoral committee, along with Louise Barkdull. She also writes and publishes our weekly newsletter. In addition to work with Spiritualist Desert Church, she serves on the national board, the NSAC board. We're very grateful for her that she has time to be with us today. Please welcome the Reverend Jen Rosson.
Thank you, Nola. Good morning, everybody. Welcome, welcome, everybody here on Zoom and everyone later on YouTube who's watching the recording. And of course, all of our family, friends, and loved ones from the spirit world who join our community every week in our Sunday fellowship. Happy April. I think spring is here. I had a tree leaf out within like a day this week. All of the plants seem to be emerging from their long winter hibernation, which is just glorious to witness. And it kind of feels like all of us are surfacing from an extended exile of some sort at the same time, trying to pick up the pieces and resume what we used to consider our normal life. But some things have changed over the course of the last couple of years, haven't they? Some of us are hesitant about even re-entering into social interactions. And many of us have given pause at the thought of the confined atmosphere of travel in an airplane. And many more of us have had their workplace fundamentally morph into an entirely new way of doing business. All of these shifts in behavior and environment also carry an emotional currency that's the partner to any large change in society. Prior to the appearance of COVID and all of these subsequent global pandemic and lockdowns and all of the things that were responsible for these shifts, we were already dealing with several divisive and monumental movements that were lobbying for changes in our communities. The fight for marriage and equal rights equality by the LGBTQ+ community, the struggle against violence targeted at women in the Me Too movement, and the ongoing pursuit of civil rights within the Black Lives Matter group are a few of the large organized attempts that we're trying to rectify injustice. In some ways, it seems like the COVID lockdown has stalled and stifled some of the outreach and growth of these many different social movements. In other ways, it may have actually helped. Many people have related that the experience of isolation and solitude has forced them to re-examine not only their day-to-day life, but also their internal state of being. and how that relates to those missing social interactions and their own responsibilities to the others that they do encounter. The dawning realization for many people was that stark reality that the world doesn't revolve around any of us as individuals. It was a true ego check. Simone Weil was a 20th century French philosopher, a mystic, and a political activist. And she wrote, "To give up our imaginary position as the center, to renounce it, not only intellectually, but in the imaginative part of our soul, that means to awaken to what is real and eternal, to see the true light and hear the true silence." Lying in wait within that true silence is our eternal spirit. That spark of the divine within every one of us. The light and love of infinite intelligence greets us there, whether in prayer or meditation, in the midst of crisis or the outpouring of joy. The grace of God is the constant, unchanging companion of our soul. That word grace has many meanings. It can be the beautiful movement of a prima ballerina. It can be the prayer prior to a meal, the extension of a bill's due date, or the way you greet a royal personage. Many of us, though, recognize it as a specifically Christian word, referencing their belief in the unmerited favor of God manifested through the salvation of the sinner. Spiritualists don't believe in sin, just as we don't accept the vicarious atonement of another for our own errors. We are all spiritual beings sharing this human experience. And as such, we make mistakes. We have lapses in judgment, but we are all personally responsible for our own actions. Our seventh principle outlines this moral responsibility for every individual. And our eighth spiritualist principle reassures us that the doorway for redemption is never closed here on the earth plane or later in the spiritual realm. We need to reclaim this concept of the grace of God for what it truly is. The endless love of infinite intelligence, no matter how messed up we may be at any moment in time. It doesn't matter. God's understanding and compassion does not have limits or expiration dates. They are the constant, abiding partner to the natural laws that define our existence. Simone Weil put it this way: all the natural movements of the soul are controlled by laws analogous to those of physical gravity. Grace is the only exception. Grace fills the empty spaces, but it can only enter where there is a void to receive it. And it is grace itself which makes this void. The imagination is continually at work, filling up all the fissures through which grace might pass. In other words, for the grace of God to enter, we must also free ourselves of judgment and ego and create those empty spaces for infinite intelligence to enter and bring the light and love into our soul. Opening our minds and hearts to one another and treating everyone with the same grace we wish to receive is the ultimate expression of the golden rule. Judgment and ego must be ushered out the back door as we extend the hand of friendship and dignity to all of those that we encounter. One of my favorite authors is the Reverend Nadia Bowles-Weber. She's a Lutheran minister, theologian, and an author. And yes, she's Christian, but she's a person who has made many, many mistakes in her life, and consequently and subsequently, many dramatic changes. She truly walks the walk of someone who accepts everyone for who and where they are. And this is what she says about grace. Grace is the cargo train that distributes into my life all the good and beautiful things that are unearnable. Forgiveness, mercy, endless second chances, the goodwill of those who could write me off, the sun rising each day, a perfect peach in summer, and love. So as summer will follow spring, my wish for all of us is to follow where our heart leads us, not only to find that perfect peach, but also to the limitless love and light of infinite intelligence that resides within each of us. May each of us be awake to the grace of God working in our lives and to the silence that creates the voids for it to enter, allowing us to then pay it forward in service to others. Happy Sunday, everybody. God bless.
Thank you, Reverend Jen. That was a wonderful sermon this morning. We appreciate it. This is the time we set aside for our love offering and announcements. If you would please join me in an offertory prayer. Infinite intelligence, as we accept these gifts given freely out of love and dedication, we give thanks for our continued abundance, both material and spiritual. We ask a blessing on those who give, and that they may be rewarded many times over for their selfless generosity. In the same spirit, we dedicate the use of these gifts for only the highest and best, and we will use them wisely for the benefit of this church, our community, and for all of humanity. Amen. We continue to accept love donations by cash or check to the address on your screen. In addition, we have PayPal available through our website, or there is a link posted in the chat. Thank you for your continued support of Spiritualist Desert Church. As you are aware, our physical building is still closed due to the pandemic. Our board of directors and the pastoral committee remain active and are available if you have need of assistance. If you have any questions about spiritualism, or if you are interested in membership, please reach out to us via any of the methods listed on the screen. Our weekly newsletter also has contact information on the last page. If you'd like to be added to our email list, please let us know. You may also watch the recording of this Zoom service or any of our previous Zoom services on our YouTube channel. Search Spiritualist Desert Church on YouTube. I'd like to thank the reverends who've joined us today. First of all, thank you again to the Reverend Jen Rosson for serving the church today. Also, we have with us the Reverend Vicky Holman, the Reverend Paula Molino, the Reverend Cozy Allen. I think that's everybody. I'd like to remind everybody that we do have a Lyceum on the second Sunday of every month. That will be on April 10th. And the Reverend Vicky Homan will lead that Lyceum. And we have a mediumship practice on the first and third Thursdays of the month. Those will be April 7th and 21. Next week's speaker will be, again, the Reverend Jen Rosson. And one other thing, the membership dues, our membership dues, those of us who are members of the church, our dues are due by May 31st. And if you want further information about that, contact us. Now we'll begin the healing portion of our service. We invite you to join us in a meditation led by Louise Barkdull. Please join me now in the prayer for spiritualist healing. I ask the great unseen healing force to remove all obstructions from my mind and the body and to restore me to perfect health. I ask this in all sincerity and honesty, and I will do my part. I ask this great unseen healing force to help both present and absent ones who are in need of help and to restore them to perfect health. I put my trust in the love and the power of God. Amen. And now Louise Barkdull will lead us in our guided meditation.
So glad you could join us here today. I welcome again all of you, but all of our friends, family, loved ones from the spirit side of life as well. They come in, they join us, they help us. For the next few minutes, there's nowhere else to be. There's nothing else you need to do. This is our time for healing, re-energizing. So just sit back, find a comfortable position, feet on the floor if possible. And as always, begin by focusing on your breath. This one simple little thing just helps us get into attunement so that we can receive that loving, healing energy from infinite intelligence. Mentally reach out to your doctors, your chemists, and your healers, asking them for their help. So just focusing on your breath, slowing it down, inhaling and exhaling as fully as possible. Preparing ourselves for that healing energy. Today, I want you to focus truly on preparing yourself. In order to have room for that wonderful healing energy to come in, we have to make sure that our vessel is pretty empty. So we need to do our part. So we want to make sure that we are releasing any negative things that we have going on with us. So make sure if there's any anger in you, release it and let it go. If there's more that you have to deal with that, it can be done later. But for right now, just release it and let it go. If there's any judgment, again, release it and let it go, making room for all the positives that will come in. Any resentment, let it go. When you let it go, the universe will make sure that it gets where it needs to go, which is not inside us. It will take care of it. And any fear, just release it and let it go. Now that we've prepared ourselves to receive that loving, healing energy, make sure that you're open. You know that you've prepared yourself. And now let it in. Your doctors, your chemists, and your healers will send it exactly where it needs to go. Emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually. Feel that healing energy coursing through you. Refreshing you. Energizing you. Giving you everything that you need. Breathing it in. You have been healed. And it is time to return. So again, focusing on your breath. To bring us back to our current place in time. Thanking infinite intelligence, our doctors, our chemists, and our healers. And each other. Because knowing or not, we always end up supporting each other as well. And receiving from each other. That's that unconditional love that is the heart of healing. So again, breathing, inhaling deeply, exhaling deeply. Wiggling your fingers, wiggling your toes, refreshed and ready to come back fully, opening your eyes, ready for the rest of the day and the rest of the week. God bless.
Thank you, Louise. That was a wonderful meditation this morning. We continue to maintain our healing list, and we send out absent healing prayers on a daily basis. If you wish to add someone to our healing list, please send us an email request with first name only, please. Also, remember to include your pets if you'd like to. We now move into the message portion of our service. By definition, a medium is one whose organism is sensitive to vibrations from the spirit world and through whose instrumentality, intelligences in that world are able to convey messages and produce the phenomena of spiritualism. A medium proves the continuity of life through evidence provided by spirit. Please understand that all mediums are psychic. but not all psychics are mediums. A psychic reads your energy, your aura. A medium brings through someone who has lived here on the earth plane. It's also important to know that a medium is not a medical doctor and therefore cannot and will not diagnose or prescribe. Also, please be aware that although this portion of the service will not be posted on YouTube, our service is coming to a close today. We'd like to invite you to join us afterward for a virtual fellowship. We'll close our service with a benediction from the Reverend Jen Rosson.
Thank you, Nola. Please join me in prayer. Infinite intelligence, we ask a blessing on all those who shared this time today. We ask for wisdom in our decisions and the understanding of spirit working within each of us. May we extend the grace of God to all of our fellow travelers. Amen.
Okay, please join us for a virtual fellowship. We'd love to have a little chat.